Welcome to the On God podcast. Let's start everything off with a prayer, man. On God, Father, I come to you as humble as I know how, eyes closed, head bowed. I pray that you would be with me and the rest of the people on YouTube watching on this journey that we are about to embark on. It's been a long time you've been calling my name, and I'm finally willing to answer. I thank you for all the blessings you put in my life and all the mountains that you moved out of it. It's time for me to do your work, and I hope and pray that my words will fulfill your will reach the people that you need me to reach. I pray that you would guide my tongue and keep me from saying or doing anything blasphemous or unpleasant to you. The whole reason I'm here today is to fulfill your word. And I pray that the people that are listening are open to receiving anything that I have to say, and I hope that what I have to say comes through you. Amen. Um, this is gonna be a lot different than what I usually do. I want to tell y'all first the small missions I have. We're gonna talk about waiting on God. And then I'm gonna give y'all a little bit about myself because I want y'all to understand how I got to this place that I'm in and why I'm doing the things that I'm doing right now. Have you ever heard your grandmother or somebody, one of the elders in church, or your mother, anybody, just tell you, "Hey, God may not come when you want him, but He always on time." I have. It took me a long time to realize what that means. I'm gonna give you a different example of waiting on God, and letting God do His thing in your life. Um, Sometimes we just not ready. And you got to realize that God show up late by design. I'm going to explain this to you. There's two different kinds of being late. You can be late on purpose. You can be late on an accident. If you late on an accident, that means you wasn't prepared. You wasn't ready. You didn't know what you was doing. You didn't know where you was going. You had other things that got in the way. That ain't God. God knows exactly where He going. He know exactly what He doing. He had all that wrote out. He know what you got going on, and He know when it's too late and when it's too early. Let me explain something to you. As youngsters, we used to go to the skating rink. We used to go to parties. We used to go to clubs. Some of us still do. But as youngsters, me and my friends, we would go in a gang or a group. You know what I'm saying? We would all get together, put that stuff on, spray that stuff on, drop that jewel on. You know what I'm saying? Get the hair right, and we fall out to the club or whatever. You know, we might pregame a little bit, sip on something, drink on something. We get ready for the club, get ready for the party. You always had that one person that want to tell you, "Hey, man, let's go. We need to get up out of here before we be late." And then you had people who knew they had this stuff on, they were ready, and they'll tell you, "Hey, it's not time yet. Party started at 10. We're gonna fall in about 11:30. We're gonna fall in about midnight." You know what I'm saying? Skating rink started at 8. We're gonna fall up in there about 9:30, 10 o'clock. Reason being is because you want to make that entrance, you want to fall up in that club and everybody looking at you, all eyes on you. They see you. You put that stuff on. You got that hair whipped up. You got that fresh line, that fresh fade. You know what I'm saying? You're smelling good. You're looking good, and you want everybody to see it. You don't want to fall in too early, and the building ain't packed. Half of the people who gonna be here ain't here. You get up in here and get the dance. You can sweat it all out. You know what I'm saying? And You ain't fresh and fly and smelling good as you were. No, be patient. Fall up in there a little bit late, make your entrance, everybody head turn. Ooh, look at them. Now picture God. Sometimes God is late on what you want because he's sitting back waiting on everybody to get there. Sometimes it ain't just you, it's everybody else. He needs your enemies in the club when you walk in. He needs your family in the club when you walk in. He needs your friends in the club when you walk in. He needs them strangers over there in the club when you walk in because he put them blessings on you. He got you right. He got you feeling like it, looking like it. And when you walk in, everybody in here needs to see you. Sometimes it ain't the club. Sometimes you walk into work and you say something that somebody needed to hear. Or you turn on a phone and you start giving people your testimony because somebody needs to hear it. You never know. I talked to my homeboy today and I tell him all the time, I'm like, man, you got the type of spirit that when you put your mind to something that you want to do, it ain't no stopping you. And you ain't just gonna do it, you gonna do it to the point where it's admirable. Like this dude is this big. I've seen this man say, man, I'm gonna start working out. You know how many times I done heard people say, I'm gonna start working out? I done seen this man say, I'm gonna work out. Next time you know, he bodybuilder size, big. From a bean pole. Legs still small, but everything else is, man, got heart conditions and everything. It don't stop him. He ain't just gonna go to the gym and start picking up weights. He gonna jump off in the books and start looking up meal plans and how to eat healthy and what not to eat and what to eat, how much to eat, what time you need to work out, how many days, how many times a day. He do his homework and he put the work in. I went to barber school with this dude. He part of the reason why I'm so good at barbering. I'm part of the reason why he's so good. We taught each other stuff. And for a long time, it's like we was teaching each other without talking to each other. I just peep game. I'll watch him, he'll watch me, and we didn't realize it. It still happened to this day. Earlier today, I was telling him about my pod. Well, yesterday I was telling him about my podcast and the new stuff I want to do, which is this one and my other show. Uh, and he was telling me, he said, "Man, one thing I learned watching you over the years is you can become successful at anything if you just start recording it." And I let him know. I say, "Bro, this is how I feel. When you get on camera, be yourself. Be yourself. Everybody in your circle, everybody in your family, everybody in your neighborhood might not identify with you. But if you get on that camera and you be yourself, it's people all around the world that feel how you feel, think how you think, or just they like the way you think and they gonna start picking up on you. They gonna come. It might not be the people closest to you that feel everything that come out your mouth. But there's gonna be some people out here in the world that's gonna identify with you. So man, just cut the camera on and get started." And he was like, "Man, I feel that I've been watching you do this and I've been seeing you, man. I'm proud of you." And I said, "Bro, do you not remember me sitting in your kitchen for 2 years straight telling you, man, I want to start this YouTube show. I want to start this YouTube show." And you and your mama used to tell me, "Man, you need to do it, bro. I think you'll be good at it." And I was nervous and I always found a reason why not to, man. And then one day, God just told me, "Hey, man, what you waiting on? Get started." And when I got started, everything took off. It's crazy how God works. But me and my homeboy, we just watch each other and we bounce things off each other without even talking about it. I look up to him, he look up to me. We keep each other on the right path. That's how I got started with the YouTube, really because of him encouraging me. His encouragement then doubled down and told me to do what I do. And now me doing what I do is inspired him, and it all came from him inspiring me. But let's get back on track. God has you doing things, going places, saying certain things to inspire others. I tell people on all my podcasts, look, one of my main things in this world is I want to help people. I want to help people because I feel like that's where I'm gonna get my blessings from. Any way that I can help. You know what I'm saying? It feels good to know that somebody's having a good day or a better day or making it through a tough time because of you. Because I done had so many of them tough times. But let's get back to it. Right now we are fulfilling the prophecy, man. The prophecy was when I was 8 years old. I was at my grandma's house and I have an aunt, Irma Cunningham, that is an evangelist. And she called my grandma's house. It was a holiday. I can't remember if it was Thanksgiving, if it was Christmas. It was one of them. But I answered the phone and she told me, boy, you sound like a grown man. Matter of fact, you sound like a preacher. I said, preacher? And she was like, yeah, I can hear it in your voice. You're going to be a preacher one day. And I listened to what she said. I took it to heart. And I've told my followers sometimes I was scared. I grew up not trusting preachers. I knew too many that were doing wrong in the church. It was, you know what I'm saying, messing with the females, all about the money. And I grew up in a rough background. I grew up with some criminal ways. As you can see the cell behind me. That's back there right now to remind me of what I've been through, what he brought me through. And thing is, I pray, but I've seen so many righteous men fall by the wayside and do the wrong thing that I have actually become frightened of becoming a preacher in a church because I don't want the distractions. I don't want um, the temptation that comes with it. Like Spider-Man say, where it's great a responsibility, and where it's great power is also great responsibility. And I think I got to build me and my relationship up with God to that point where I know I can handle doing all that before I attempt to do anything like that. But I wanted to give y'all part of my testimony. Since we just started this podcast, I want y'all to know what got me up to this point. Um, on June the 9th, 2023, I had an accident in my 18-wheeler. I don't know if I should tell y'all the whole story. I can tell y'all the whole story. Basically, I'm going to tell y'all a shorter version of the whole story. I was driving up the mountain and it was dark. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning. It was dark. It was foggy outside. It had started raining about halfway up the mountain. I'm in the slow lane. If you know anything about mountains, when you're going up, it's always an extra lane going up on the right hand side. So I'm in the far right lane, going up slow. I'm loaded. Um, it's foggy, it's raining, it's dark. The streets are pitch black because they have just freshly blacktopped them. They haven't even finished putting all the lines down on the street yet. So there's no outside line to let you know if you drifting off the road, which that ain't what I did. When you get up towards the top, instead of the lane coming in like this where it pushes you over to where you need to be at, it just cuts off abruptly. So I'm driving and the lane just cuts off. When it cuts off and I drive past the cutoff, I'm off road now. I didn't go out the side. I drove straight off. But once you hit that part, it's coming downhill now. So it's like you're going uphill, but now you're going downhill, and I'm hitting trees. I'm biting the steering wheel over and over and over. You know what I'm saying? My shoulder broke. My leg broke. A bunch of teeth broke, cracked, knocked out. Um, I remained conscious the whole time. I never passed out. I never went to sleep. So when the truck stopped and I'm finally reaching, feeling, making sure ain't nothing broke, I undid my seatbelt and I fell down. I didn't even know that the truck wasn't right side up. But I learned quickly. I undid the seatbelt and I fell. My leg was stuck, my foot under the seat. I maneuvered around and I eventually got my feet from under the seat. I didn't realize at the time that my leg was broke. I started feeling around for anything familiar. I felt a bunch of stuff that wasn't supposed to be right in the front of the truck where I was, like microwave, and the dashboard was to the side of me where it should have been in front of me. Um, I started moving stuff. As I started moving stuff around, I seen a flash of light, and that light just happened to be my cell phone. I had three phones in the car, were in the truck, and the one I found just happened to be my personal phone, not the phone from the job or the phone that I use for GPS. It was the one that I can make phone calls on. So I grabbed that phone and I called 911. One thing about me is I've always had an ability to remain calm in frightening situations. Um, I called 911. I'm letting the woman know that I'm inside the 18 wheeler. It's pitch black. I can't see nothing. When I grabbed the phone, before I called 911, I turned the flashlight on. And what I seen was so scary. Everything was tore up and broke. It looked like this truck had been through more than a wreck. I cut the flashlight back off. It was a gruesome sight up in there. I'm talking to the woman. I'm telling her how bad it was. I didn't want to cut the flashlight back. I did not want to see what I had saw. And the one was asking me was all right. I'm like, my leg hurt a little bit. I said, but I'm just gonna lay here and talk to you until we can get some ambulance and some police down here to get me. And she was like, all right. Well, we kept on talking. After a minute, I started realizing that I smell gasoline. I'm soaking wet, but I'm not thinking about the gasoline. I'm thinking because it's raining outside. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking it's the rain. Well, as I'm smelling the gasoline, I'm feeling. I'm like, gasoline feel a little bit different than water. So I'm realizing I'm soaked in diesel fluid, and all I'm thinking is, oh my god, I got to get out of this truck. So I tell her like, I got to get out of this truck, and she's like, no, you need to stay. I'm like, no, ma'am, I'm covered in diesel fluid. I got to get out this truck. And I started thinking like, what would they do in the movie? So I got to the window and I tried to climb out the side window. I couldn't. It was something right there. I guess trees. I get to the front window and it's broke. Like, but it ain't out the window. It's broke to the point where it's like it's cracked a little bit. You know how it is, it's like on that plastic sheet, and it's like a corner of it is already out. So I flip around on my back and I'm kicking at this window to get this window out. That's when I realized my leg was broke because I can only kick with one leg. And then I thought I was just gonna scooch my way out there feet first. I couldn't do it because my leg. So I had to sprung back around, flip over on my stomach, and come out on my elbows. Luckily, I had found one of my pillows and I put that on the glass and climbed over it. When I got about halfway out of the window, I had ran into the embankment and I couldn't go no more. So what I did then was I started grabbing on this tree limb that was right here and I started just pulling myself up. So I got on my one good leg and I sat right there. I couldn't go nowhere else. I couldn't climb up the mountain. I couldn't get around the front of this truck. I couldn't get around the side of this truck. I was just like in a little cubby hole. And eventually, the ambulance and everybody came and got me. When the ambulance driver sat down with me, they had to come cut. The fire department had to come back and cut trees down and pull me up in one of the baskets. I was in a small town called Heber Springs, and it's funny how God worked. But let me tell you how God worked. These people might have been a little racist. They might have been a little racist. They did not treat me properly in this hospital when I got there. They came in it's like I'm soaked in gasoline. I'm head to toe. They didn't care. The man just said, "Hey, what's wrong?" I'm like, "Oh, I think my leg broke." So they took an X-ray of my leg. Um, Came back and put me in a knee brace. Gave me some crutches and basically signed me out the hospital. They're like, "What else you want us to do for you?" I'm like, "Bro, I just came off the mountain, bro. I'm 18 wheeler wreck. I'm not coming here like I fell off a skateboard or something, bro. Like, check me out. You can see my teeth and shit, excuse me, God forgive me. You can see my teeth and stuff was all busted up and missing and blood all in my mouth. I had a knot on my forehead this big and it was split. Um, my shoulder ended up being, it wasn't broke, but it was dislocated. They didn't check none of this stuff out. They put a brace on my knee and sent me about the hospital, basically. So I got to calling my mom and them. Now you got to think about it. When I finally got pictures of this 18 wheeler I was driving, I've seen a bunch of 18 wheeler wrecks on the highway. I've never seen a truck that looked like mine when I got these pictures. I couldn't tell I was looking at an 18 wheeler when I finally got these pictures. Um, there is no way possible God didn't get me out that truck. When I was in that hospital, and I'm gonna tell you all the truth, I wasn't smoking at the time I had the accident, but I was smoking weed heavy back then. I don't smoke no more. I was smoking weed real heavy back then, like real heavy. If I would have took a drug test in that hospital, I would have been fired from my job. I would have been in jail for all the damage I caused, um, because it would have been negligent. Um, at the time, even now, I pay the mortgage and everything at my mama's house. I was taking care of stuff. If I would have lost my job and wouldn't have got a workers' comp or nothing like that, we would have been homeless. I would not have been able to get another truck driving job. Even if I could have, I was broke up, broke leg, broke, dislocated shoulder. I wasn't going back to work no time soon. We would have lost everything. I would have lost both my cars. I would have lost the house. I would have lost, my mom would have lost, it just would have been bad. I would have been the biggest failure I had ever been, and I'd have been to prison. This has been worse than that. Because when I went to prison, I let people down because of I was doing stupid stuff. But I didn't they wasn't dependent on me at that time. They were looking at me like, man, you disappointed us. You should have been better than that. We taught you better than that. And they did. But this time it would have hurt me so bad to watch my mama lose her house, lose her car, me lose everything I had worked so hard for because of a blunt. Because I wanted to smoke. And come on now. So they say God protect fools and babies. I was the fool. These people woke up with whatever they had on their heart, treated me the way they treated me in that hospital, and it saved me. God turned that ill will into one of the greatest things ever. because when I got out that hospital, I'm about 2 miles down the road from the hospital. And I get a phone call from my job and they say, "Where you at?" And I told them, "Well, I'm in the car, I'm headed home." And he say, You what? You left the hospital?" I'm like, "They basically kicked me out." Boss like, "So you got discharge paper?" I'm like, "I got discharge papers, I got prescriptions, I got the name of a doctor I can see when I get back to Little Rock." He was like, "Oh, okay, because I had just called down to the hospital for your drug test. So I'm gonna need you when you get back home to go straight to to Concentra and take this drug test." And I said, "Well, I'm not driving and I'm not sure when I'm gonna be able to get down there to take it because I'm not in control of this vehicle and where I'm going right now. I'm just getting right back to the house." And he told me, "Well, that's cool, but if you don't get down there today, then you ain't got nothing to worry about. You gonna get terminated and everything else. You're gonna lose your job." I told him, "Look, man, I'm gonna get there today. You can believe it. I'm gonna get there today." But what that did was he gave me time to study for that drug test. I called my neighbor. I got some pee, and I went past that drug test, and I was able to get workman's comp, which lasted for a while. Helped me take care of the bills that I need to take care of. It wasn't as much money as I was making, but it kept me afloat. Um, and during that time, I had a lot of conversations with God. I made a lot of promises. He probably made a few himself. Uh, in the end, I ended up going back to work about 9 months after my accident. God held me down that whole time, pulled me through everything I went through. But on that day, it's important that you realize that I started counting my blessings. I made it out the accident. I was like, whoo, big blessing. I got basically pushed out to the hospital before I could get a drug test. Big blessing. My neighbor had some clean pee for me. Big blessing. I passed that drug test. Big blessing. My surgery and everything, my rehab and everything was paid for. Big blessing. Mama got the house. Big blessing. I kept the cars. Big blessing. Mama kept her car. Big blessing. The blessings just kept coming and coming and coming. So in the long run, I did say, you know what? I'm going back to work. I'm not going to put myself in this situation no more. I quit smoking. I'm not going to jeopardize me and my people's future over a blunt. It ain't worth it. Um, in this situation where you got to stop, you just got to stop. By the grace of God, I was able to stop. I know everybody ain't able. It's been plenty of times where I wanted to quit smoking weed and I couldn't. It's been plenty of times where I just decided I'm gonna quit for a while and I did. Luckily, this is one of them times where I just said, you know what, I'm done. Um, I've had a bunch of drug tests since then. I don't have to worry about it. They be randoms or whatever, so I'm not even worried about it. I know I'm good. I do what I need to do. I encourage other people to be strong and y'all can do it if you want to. You can do it if you need to. Um, it's just a lot of stuff. And you gotta realize with me, I have not always been a religious dude. I have been the type of dude that I fought and I fought and I fought and I fought. I'm gonna give y'all another story next time about that fighting I did with God and religion. But I'm just gonna tell y'all about it now. I fought and I fought and I fought and I fought. I was always that hard headed kid. I didn't want to be in church. I didn't want to hear what the Bible was saying. I always had an argument. If you ask me, I'm gonna tell you, um, The stuff I used to say is derogatory. I don't even feel comfortable saying it no more, but I'm gonna try. I would say stuff like God got Mary pregnant and left another man to raise the baby. Jesus had a stepdaddy. And we made in God's image, and y'all wonder why so many men leave their kids to be raised by a stepdaddy. Because we made in God's image. He did it first. That's one of the things I used to say. Um, I would say stuff like, I can't trust the God that Satan can manipulate so easily. Like when it was time for Job, and he came to God and he was like, "Hey, that's your one. That's him. I bet I can flip him." And God like, "Nah, you ain't gonna flip him." Like, "Nah, I bet I can flip him. Let me at it." So he started getting at him. God let him get at him. And he took this and he took that and he gave him this and he put him through this and he gave him diseases and he took his kids. So I got to the point like, man, let's cut all of that out. We just gonna get to the kids. If I got 10 kids and you kill all 10 of my kids, you can't come back later and give me 10 more kids and think we straight. Because now I got 20 kids and 10 of them you just killed. You gave me 10 more and I'm going to love these 10, but I still love the 10 you killed. Keep that in mind. Next time, next Sunday, when I tell y'all the story, I'm going to show y'all how we finally undid that and got to the truth of the matter. Made so much sense to me. Um, I did, before I go, have a Bible verse I want to read with y'all. Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. I feel like that verse has everything to do with what I just told y'all about me. Like I say, man, I used to fight guys so hard. I would argue with you. Anything you want to say, I would argue with the preacher. I would argue with my mama. I would tell him, look, God you trusting in and believing in ain't real. Y'all go to school and you study and you do your homework. And then when you pass it in this grade, you give all glory to God like you didn't do none of that. You giving this invisible man too much credit. When you out here feeding your kids and you working for the food, you know what I'm saying? And then you sit down and you cook the food, and when it's time to eat, you give all the glory and the praise to God. Like he cooked that food, or like he worked that job and made that money to go buy that food. I had to get to a point where I realized everybody not able to get that job. Everybody not able to go to work. Everybody ain't got that money to spend on that food. Everybody can't cook. There's some people, kids around here at the table hungry. So yeah, you do thank God because everything you have came from him. Everything you do, everything you see, it's a blessing in everything around you. You have to know or put yourself in that mind frame of recognizing what your blessings are. The best way to recognize what your blessings are is trying to be a blessing to somebody else. I guarantee if you wake up and you trying to do good for somebody else, you'll start seeing the good that's going on in your life. You'll stop taking this stuff for granted because you realize, look, everybody don't have. Everybody don't. God is a provider, man. And we can't take the place of him. We can do what he allows us to do So if we start being a provider, we being a provider in his image. You could say you went to work that job, and I'm gonna say, guess how many people couldn't get out of bed this morning? Guess how many people didn't have a car to get to work? Guess how many people went up there and put that application in and didn't get it? And guess what happened with the people who did? Thank you, Father. So on that note, man, I'm gonna end this. I hope I said something that somebody can feel, somebody can understand. I don't want to keep y'all all day, but I do want y'all to realize, man, you have to start searching God. You have to start having a relationship with God. You have to talk to God for yourself. Sometimes you got to cut out the middleman and get straight to it. Um, Pray for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Some of the best things you can pray for. Learn to be patient. Learn to trust God. And as always, depend on God. Wait on God. Lean on God. Put your problems on God. We out.